Test, test. Cool. I couldn't see anything. Well, yep, continuing to see things. Sorry, as you can see here, we got Nero slightly ahead of Scrublord. I wasn't heard towards the end of Chapter 2, but I was saying things, basically saying I'm not entirely sure how Nero got ahead, but that's what we're looking at right now. Yep, stream is our concern. And, okay. Nero first to approach the big mess section here. And there we go. The timers are correct now. See, we got Nero. It's actually hard to tell if he is ahead or not because there is a slight timer desync going on. But of course, both the players are dying a lot right now, so it's also that's coming to effect. Quick little resync going on there. Yes, technology is doing some great stuff. And it's about 3 seconds now between the two players. Nero the first to enter the third section of the big mess, and Scrublord is right behind him. Both able to get the corner boost over there on that screen. That's a annoyingly difficult trick, and I'm very impressed with people being able to consistently do that. But players are now going towards the demo dash room as they have entered the elevator shaft section now. And for Nero, I don't really expect it to be any sort of problem. Nero taking a quick death there, not really going to impact too much. But for Scrublord, he's the least consistent player when it comes to demo dash, and like there aren't many players who are inconsistent at the demo dash. It's pretty much just Scrublord. So this is a very important thing, as they are both at the demo dash at the same time, but Scrublord's actually the one who get it on the first try, and then Nero gets it on the second try. But Scrublord had attempted for the task cycle, and so they're back in sync again. So, okay, completely unexpected things. Some days, Scrublord has great luck with the demo dash, and some days he has terrible luck. Today he had really good luck, and then he went into failing. He just went failing into task cycle. So we do have a slight lead from Nero currently, just because of some struggles with the Oshiro fight that's happening. But they are very close, neck and neck. And Nero is actually going to be the first one out of there, as Scrublord actually had died on this final screen here. A very punishing screen to die on. You do not want to be doing that. There's a lot of time that goes into this screen, and you get sent pretty far back. heading into the Golden Ridge now. As I get people in chat, bad-mouthing my commentary. I'm kidding, I love you guys. Dying is bad, Kay. Death. You don't want it. Nero doesn't want it. But he got it one. First one onto the spike jump. And we'll be heading into the next section of Golden Ridge, while Scrublord's just a little bit behind here. Considering the timer desync, I'd give it about a 5-second gap right now. Oh, but that's gonna increase it as Scrublord actually fails the not demo dash, the ultra dash, to exit this room. Scrublord just continuing to mess up some of these like little hyper dash tricks and just having to reset that the room, so it's causing the lead to increase for Nero right now. And so unexpectedly, the chapter that I didn't really think of to cause problems for Scrublord is the one. I mean, it does make some sense. I have said before for Scrublord that the middle chapters are considerably where he has the most amount of problems, chapter 3 and chapter 5. But I mean, I never really considered chapter 4 as well, considering how short of a chapter it is. But it can cause some trouble spots too. It's got a lot of tricks going on in the chapter. Each and every screen is FC. You know, as one of my commentators has said, is FC. He said like every screen has a trick that you have to do. And it's very true, and so messing up things is a huge time loss. It can mess many things up. Nero out of there at 10:48, and Scrublord gonna die again. And this is a very long snowball room too. Meanwhile, Nero has started chapter 5. Just navigating through to get to here. And Scrublord is going to be finishing out chapter 4. And we're at... That's like a 304, I think I saw there. Had 4 deaths in that chapter. Nero failing the yeet on the first try, gives it a retry and is able to get that yeet. And now on to the music, and to the rhythm music section. He was able to feel that rhythm and rhyme, and he's able to get that tape at not 109, 111. I just came up with that rhyme, and that will come into effect on a run that actually gets 109 one day. Nero on the Bubs drop now, as Scrublord has just entered the tape room, and yes, Nero is able to get that Bubs drop, and Scrublord leaving at a 114. Oh, and now taking a death in this room before the mirror. Just about halfway through it, so it wasn't as large of a death as it could have been. And yeah, it's still a very large gap right here. Scrublord needs this Bubs drop. Is able to get it. But as I can't stress enough, it really is what's after a Bubs drop that matters more than ever. More than any other part of this level. Like it's such a technical chapter after Bubs drop. Thank you for the single bit. And now just falling right into that Seeker's lap to be knocked away. It's a very scary approach. Most people just dash through it while it's while it's about to do that shockwave. They're successfully able to get through the gauntlet as Scrublord is just about to start the Into the Mirror section here. You know, doing a little fall here. Messes up, unfortunately. And finishing with a 228 for Nero, getting 2 deaths, including the Bubs drop death. So that is a 1 death chapter. And Scrublord getting that little trick there, that's a very fun one. I've seen a couple times from people. Cool to see it being done there. It's actually a pretty precise jump. Now, meanwhile, able to get the leg skip on the first try as he is the first to enter Chapter 6 now. While Scrublord is still dealing with the gauntlet. Oh! Yeah, that didn't look very recoverable. It was definitely looking at Scrublord's screen trying to figure out what was going to happen there. Yeah, runners are definitely all improving. And there's Nero getting that good trick. I love that trick. Just recently learned that myself. Scrublord not quite feeling the rhythm on the entrance cycle. It's just kind of taking it easy. Yeah, getting a 306, and that is his total time for that chapter, because it is a first try Bubs drop that he got in that chapter. So that is, I mean, both way, whether or not that was a first try Bubs drop, that's still just a really annoying time to get. I don't think it has to be the first like 3 minute I've seen for 5B, that is. Yeah, I would not be surprised if this is somewhere around a 1 minute lead at this point. Scrublord finally able to get the leg skip after about the 3rd or 4th try there. And yep, Nero taking his route through the intended shortcuts, him being the only one at this point who takes that checkpoint before the 3rd hole. But he does it in a way that saves loses basically no time to just going through all 3 of the holes. And it's safer, so he just keeps doing it. Gets a good battle line boost over there, and into the battle line fight. Scrublord taking the top route. Successfully able to get through there. And Nero getting a good feather list. Ooh, Scrublord not able to get through the dev-intended shortcut there. Going through it on the second try now. Be able to get it at that time. And as Nero is starting the second half of the battle line fight. Scrublord's still playing very well, all things considered. Just having a bit of a shaky chapter 4 is really all that's set him apart from where Nero is currently. Yeah, there have been some deaths here and there, but honestly, if it wasn't for that chapter 4, I think he'd be much closer. It'd be somewhere within, I'd say, like 20 seconds. Nero going to be entering the Summit 2019. Yeah, I didn't even catch that chapter time. 540 reflection. That is pretty good. No, sub 29 is definitely possible for Nero right now. Entering at 2019. You just need like an 8. You can get an 840 and still be just under the wire to getting a 28, and you'd get a 2859 there. So it's still totally possible. I'm not even sure how Nero died just then. Was that a failed dream hyper? I can't even tell. It most likely was a failed dream hyper. And Scrublord now showing that he had a shaky chapter 6 as well. This is gonna be a 613, 614, nope, 613 from Scrublord on chapter 6. So yeah, very shaky one there, resulting in about a 2-minute gap between these two players going in at the start of chapter 7. So right now, it just seems like Nero just ran away with this victory, just not letting Scrublord to take any opportunity, as Nero is currently playing at the top of his game, very close to his PV at this point. Yeah, it's very true. Like, yeah, it wasn't the best gameplay from Scrublord currently, but this is also up against a very good player being Nero, so it's just like, when you consider both of those factors, it's very hard to say what could happen. Like, it's... Yeah, Nero's just playing at the top of his game, and it's just gonna... It looks like he's probably just gonna stay there for this whole series. So Scrublord's definitely gonna have to up what he's doing and keep... try to play at the top of his game, what he's capable of. I know he is. He can get sub 29, I believe. Like, I'll double check my records, but I'm pretty sure he's gotten one before. Okay, a bit wrong there. He has his fastest time, at least in the GSA races, has been in 29:35 from what I can tell. That is not the quite most up-to-date records, but they are still pretty accurate. I think they're just about a game behind at this point for Scrublord. They might be less than that. Yeah, he can get sub 30s. He's, like I said, he's gotten 29:30s before, so he can do that. And all it takes is all it takes is Nero to have a little bit less, like, Nero just not have a bit less of a good run than this. Like, playing like this, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, people don't always submit things, so yeah. He did a 29:35 at one point at during a GSA race, so. Or is it 29:37? Something like that. I literally just read it off that stat sheet that I've made. It's hard to keep up when it's hard to keep it accurate when it's just one person keeping track of it at this point. So doing what I can to keep it up to date, but right now it's about like 4 or 5 games behind. Yes, run verified on the left side. Nero did just get that door skip. And Nero entering 3,000 meters at 25:59. So not as soon as other players that I've seen, but definitely a very respectable entrance there. And this downdraft section can be so difficult in certain areas, even though he just finished it entirely. But the updraft, this is where the death's really going to count. So you got to make sure that you keep those very low if he's hoping to stay within the sub 29 range right now. Doing some very quick work right now as Nero is approaching flag number 10, of course. Oh, he is going to get it. I didn't think he was going to go for it, but he did actually change his mind and step in a little bit further to actually mark that flag. But it did not matter as he is able to as he has been able to continue on and move over to flag 6 at this point. They're about to finish it out pretty much securely in 28. Gonna be getting a 28XX at this point. It's pretty confident at this point. Even a death of flag 1 would still put him at range to get that 28XX, but it looks like he's gonna stay alive and get a 2835. $12 deaths and 2 strawberries. And yeah, only 26 seconds to his PV. That's very good. And about a minute better than what Scrublord has ever accomplished, from what I know. Scrublord at about 29 minutes for flag number 28. And having a lot of trouble in the downdraft section right now. Not quite getting the wall bounces that he needs. Scrublord looking to finish this out. Very important to just at least finish it out. You got to be able to show that you are capable of getting a good run in. And so you got to show that every section is there to some degree. Not necessarily for, rules purposes, but more just for yourself, I would think, Just gotta, like, prove to yourself, yeah, I can feel it today. Yes, my chapter 6 didn't go too well. Yeah, my chapter 4 wasn't there. But everything else was fine. And so it should be something that he is capable of doing. Okay, 5B was also a little bit shaky, but there are things that can be done. The skills are still there for Scrublord, and he's certainly still capable of things today. And I definitely didn't really see any sort of domino effect occur from Scrublord. It was more of just like little things here and there. And yeah, Nero is very likely to be at pace at this rate. I mean, he does, he's gonna be in top 8 at this point, but it's still just hard to say like what will happen to him in brackets. But I could easily see him ending up in the top 4. Scrublord having a bit of trouble on flag number 3, taking a couple deaths here, and just pauses for a second to get his to calm down, skipping flag 2 still, and now gonna be going through that flag. Able to get through and is now on flag number 1. Finally able to finish. Gonna be looking to be getting somewhere around like a 31:46. 31:45. And with 31 deaths in that run, just waiting on Scrublords ready at this point. Figures the Scrublord's gonna take a little bit of a rest between that run. Just gonna perhaps get some water or stretch. Totally acceptable things to do. But it definitely gives Nero a lot more time to think, as he had the time, the different finish times. He had a lot of time waiting for Scrublord to finish, and now getting this waiting time. You have to consider that's a good amount of time between a run right there. And Nero knowing this, is part of me would think like, would you be okay with this? Would you keep resting and maybe get out of that element that you were currently in, or would you decide to like just jump into an area and actually just practice a little bit, even just to like just be in epilogue and just have your fingers moving, keep the blood pumping through your fingers? That might be an option right there, but that's not something to consider even right now. As Scrublord has said that he is ready, and it looks like we will be going into run 2 very shortly. Okay. Yep, both players ready again. And remembering that we are watching these feeds at two very different times, as a sync did occur, somewhere in like chapter 3, I think. So these players are gonna start at slightly different timings because of that. And of course, there's probably some sort of delay going on through the troubles that any sort of troubles that the race streamer might have. So we're just working through, waiting for the point in the streams where they actually did start the race, and there it is. And just gonna get them put them back into the right timing there, so that they are at the same times. 1 second equals 1 second. And both players in sync as they actually... Nero's timer is slightly ahead right now, so it is showing that little bit of a lead that appears to be there. But it's actually virtually the same. They are still exactly the same, and that is no surprise there, as this is just chapter 1. And oh my gosh, damn, I am completely wrong, as Nero is able to get a 101. That is a crazy chapter 1 time. Scrublord, meanwhile, getting a 103. And yeah, starting chapter 2 at 134. How do you do that? That was a crazy time. That was crazy land right there. And so yeah, that's definitely going to give a bit of a comfortable start here for Nero. Certainly making him feel very good, capable of pulling out a chapter like that. And now he's just moving through of chapter 2 right now, as he's getting to the final screen of the battle line chase. And yeah, this awake section is going really well. Oh, sorry, not the awake section. That was the part just before the awake section, but still going extremely well here. Looking to be getting somewhere in the low 140s. And yeah, just flying through, getting some ultras and corner boosts going on. Yeah, there's a 143 exit there. And exiting at 319 file time as well. Yeah, this is extremely clean for Nero. I might just ignore chat and just start watching this, because Nero is playing crazy right now, if anyone hasn't noticed. So just for comparison's sake, we got Scrublord entering at 332 right there, while Nero is entering at like a 320. So yeah, it's way too early to talk about those things, but you know, like, I don't want to jinx anything. I'm not even saying what you just said, Aaron. I'm just gonna keep on moving through, because this is some crazy gameplay that I'm seeing from Nero, and I do not want to stop it. And yet again, I do not want to discredit Scrublord's gameplay right now. He is also playing very well. It's just, you can't compete with a Nero like this, with a player like this right now. Like, this is some crazy stuff. Tripping a little bit in the big mess right there, but nothing that you can't recover from, as he definitely has a lot of breathing room right now. And Nero's still playing crazy. I don't even know how he's this far in at sub 2 minutes right now in the chapter. I don't always pay attention to the chapter timer this much into chapter 3, so I don't fully know how far he's supposed to be at what times, but it is still looking really good for him. Not quite able to get that corner boost, unfortunately. So it does have to actually deal with that screen. Meanwhile, Scrublord just finishing out the section 2 of Big Mess, so they're about a section apart right now. And that's with Scrublord playing with very little mistakes. I don't even think he had much of any mistakes to talk about. It's just Nero just playing so crazy. Like, I know I've been, like, paying a lot of attention to Nero, but seriously, I don't think I've actually seen much of a mess up from the side of Scrublord. It is really just, some superior movement going on from Nero currently that has just caused the gap that I'm seeing. And, oh, Nero, yep, at the pace he was going, he tried for the checkpoint list. Not able to get it, unfortunately. So he is going to go for the checkpoint on the second try here. And yeah, Scrublord could be on PB pace right now. It's just crazy stuff. And even with that, even with failing the checkpoint list, we're still looking at a very good time right here. From Nero. Meanwhile, we got Scrublord, yeah, also on the PB pace, but is going to be going for the checkpoint. And, oh, that death on Nero's side on that edge. Just barely taking that death from Oshiro. You guys are so... You guys are crazy. But either way, yeah, Nero on the final screen now of Chapter 3, and is going to be leaving there with a 429. I gotta go look over the stats page right now, because that is a crazy chapter this time, even with missing checkpoint. And indeed, I did just look at things, and the fastest time that I've seen from fastest time that anyone in the league has put out within a race for Chapter 3 has been a 4:14 by TGH, and I'm guessing that was basically a flawless run, considering how almost flawless that was from Nero, except for a checkpoint miss on the checkpoint list, gaining him, yeah, about 5 to 10 seconds. So yeah, it's crazy stuff. And yeah, Scrublord getting a 4:25. Thank you for that. Showing me that, yeah, Scrublord is still playing very well. Like, yet again, not to be discredited. It's just Nero with his current movement that he's at. It's hard to actually catch up to him. Like, this is actually a really good fight from Scrublord. Like, if he was playing like this during the first game, he actually would be, you know, he would be closer to where Nero was in the first game. But, you know, just that's not how the cards were dealt today, and Nero just playing really crazy. And oh, we're still at a 6-second difference. That's it. Like, that is it. Like, it is still really good for him. Keeping it together, but I gotta also remind people that this is where Scrublord fell apart last race. So that is something that we gotta watch out for. Nero, meanwhile, continuing to just blast through the chapters. Gonna be entering Cliff Face now. Yeah, I guess I just got built off of the hype that was a 3:19 entrance into Chapter 3, or 3:19 exit of Old Site. Like, that's a crazy thing to happen, so that definitely got me hyped up, but I am now been brought back down to earth and see that there is not much of a difference between the two players right now. But no matter, Nero is going to be able to finish out of here first. And yeah, there is that timer desync going on of about 8 seconds. Exiting Golden Ridge at 10:34. Yeah, same for everyone, I guess. We're all slowly descending back down to earth, realizing that that both these players are human. But Nero having a tough time reminding himself, as he is continuing to play with some task strategies right now, getting through on cycles that are very tight and making them look easy right now. Yeah, it looks like an 8-second difference, but you gotta realize how superior that early part of 5A just was. Like, that was some crazy good movement. And getting the yeet. This 5A from Nero. I don't think you understand the intricacies that went on there. He actually was getting cycle skips and made it look easy. And he was up to that yeet. Like, he was still doing some crazy stuff. The death in this rhythm. In the rhythm room, in the cassette room here. But honestly, even with that death, feeling that rhythm, he still gets a 112. Without that death, he could have been, he could have been at a 109, maybe faster. He actually could have been the first 108 if it wasn't for that death. And Scrublord getting the same death, actually. Scrublord playing very well too on that 5A. I did not check if he actually was able to get that yeet. I don't believe he did, but it's still a very good fight going on from Scrublord. Nero looking to get that Bubs drops now. And oh, that is an interesting trick. You see, I thought that pause was an accident, but it actually looks like he's pause buffering the input for Bubs drop. And yeah, both players were able to get yeet. Thank you, chat, for paying attention to things that I am not, apparently. And yeah, that looked like a Ozma for Nero, just barely able to save himself there. Very well done. Meanwhile, Scrublord is not able to get Bubs Drop on the first try, so we'll be having to re-enter that section. And oh, failing it on the second try as well. Scrublord not having that great of a time right now. Scrublord, come on. On the fourth try now for that Bubs Drop. I'm just gonna let him, you know, have his breathing room as I look at Nero for a second. And there you go. See that one time I looked at Nero? He's able to get it. But that definitely is gonna hurt him. He was on PB pace and a very, you know, very close competition going on with Nero, who just took a death right there from a falling Theo. Yeah, this is the first place where we're actually getting some real time difference. Just there were very little mistakes going on from either player. Just superior movement from Nero was the time difference that we were seeing. But now actually getting the mess ups there, Scrublord messing up Bubs Drop 3 times, resulting in, well, doing the math just from 3 failed Bubs Drops, that should be around like 30, like I'd say 30 to 40 seconds of a difference right there, because it's about 30 seconds to fail Bubs Drops 3 times, and they were about 10 seconds apart. So somewhere between 30 and like 43 seconds apart at this point. Let's say like 30. Let's say 35 to 45, somewhere in that range. Nero gonna be the first one to get into chapter 6. Very good timing right now. Still under 15 minutes. Well under 15 minutes, and should be even able to possibly... Hard to say. Yeah, I'm thinking not quite able to get to the hollow section before 15 minutes, but very close to being able to do that. So that is very cool to be seeing there. Getting there at 15:10 it seems, or like 15:13. Meanwhile, Scrublord yet again taking a not quite the entrance cycle, just waiting on a beat there, and essentially doing the death cycle just without the death. And Scrublord entering chapter 6 at like a 15:16. And Nero taking a path on that screen that I'm not used to at this point. I've seen a lot of players being using that Kevin block, and I thought that path that Nero just took was just because I saw no one doing it. But you know, Nero doing that making me reconsider my ways. I'm gonna have to go into the I'm gonna have to speedrun time that room and actually see what the timing is for those two things. And yeah, we're looking at about a minute difference between these two players, as I did actually say out loud what the time that Nero entered the hollow section was, so Scrublord entering it about a minute behind. Yeah, there will be some Celeste signs, thanks to some mods. that are available to players. And yes, I'll actually go time that out myself and see which of those strats is actually faster, as I am capable of doing both of them. So that'd be nice to see. As Chapter 6 is actually really what I'm concentrating on. Chapter 6 and 7 are for a lot of time that I can improve, potentially get my sub 40 that I need. I think I can get one at this point. It's just a matter of consistency. Anyway, back to the thing that is happening right now. Nero, of course, on the sub 30 pace, and continuing to have that. I don't know exactly how close, which exact minute he's at, as he is not close enough for me to read this. Yeah, 6 and 7 are half the game. That's why that's why I'm up to practicing them at this point. Are effectively half the game. I mean, when you get to the level that these players are at, it's not quite half the game. But probably for me, it's a good portion of the game. I'd put it at around 20 minutes out of my 40-minute run. 42-minute run. Scrublord now entering the battle line boost section. I'm not sure what the file timer was, but the chapter timer is actually a bit behind at this point. Nero had entered this, I think, about 20 seconds earlier in terms of chapter time. So just showing improvement there, and that probably increased the gap right there if we were to look at things and actually figure out timing. I just recall Nero hitting that water at about, at the bottom of the dev intended shortcut. He was at like 230, and Scrublord getting there at around 250. Oh, that was an interesting death happening there. Not quite getting the movement just right and getting squished. Meanwhile, Nero gonna be exiting here, and this time is crazy. This is looking to be an early 20 minute. This could be like a 20. This looks to be like a 2012 or 20. It could be a 20OX. It's hard to tell. And yeah. Nero just got a 2004 exit on Chapter 6. How? How are you doing that? Yeah, very close to PB pace. It's not looking likely, especially with that mess up just happening right there at the beginning of 500 meters. But still playing very well. If he could just get rid of some hiccups that were happening at little places, he definitely is he definitely is due for a PB at this point with how much stuff is going on here. He's just having a little bit of hiccups here and there that really are costing him those times. And like, I could call this right now, and I mean, I could call this as to what time this could be, but I don't want to say anything to jinx this at this point, so I'm just gonna keep it going on and keep it watching. Yeah, it's hard to say who is the best in this tourney. Like, in terms, like, it takes two very different things to go on, from trying to get a world record to trying to win this tournament. And one is actually being able to, oh, screw you. But no, it's not. Talking about the little nuances of things and just going for, like, one is going for safety, I think, to get a world record, going for the safest and at the same time fastest strats, while the other is going for just being the most consistent at strats. And Nero showing that he can be consistent and slowly implementing more and more things and just getting little mistakes and really just getting all of his deaths, other than I'd say one. Yeah, don't be talking about my jinxing, okay? That's why I said it. It's an allowable word, okay? Wait, Flad got a 1959 Chapter 6 exit yesterday? That sounds crazy. I don't believe you, but I also believe you. I want to watch that race now. And I will watch it at some point, but my stats are very far behind. Stuck to the end of week 6 right now, as we are currently in the middle of week 7. I've actually yet to watch TGH's 2755, so I need to watch that because I need to know how someone was able, to get out of Chapter 6 in a 19XX. Like, that is still like a concept that I can't even fathom right now. So I need to actually watch someone do it because I know it's possible, and I've heard people have done it. In 1936. How do you do that? How do you do that? And the thing is, I don't think, like, has TGH been able to replicate anything like that? Has he gotten anywhere? Like, I expect that from this point, he's probably gotten sub-20s exiting Reflection. But, like, has he been at a 19.3x since? Like, that is a crazy thing to be able to get. And that's really what I'm talking about. Like, TGH able to pull out something like a 1936 exiting Reflection. But is he able to do that consistently? Yeah, but it was, yeah, like I said, that requires him to be getting a 19XX, like a 19, at least like a 19.4x, I would think, because the best time of Summit is like an 809, 807, I think, actually, and that's why Fledervi, not by TGH. So, in order to be for TGH to be getting 27s, he needs to be getting out of Reflection at, yeah, I'd say around 1940 in order to be getting a 27. But has he gotten a 19.3x ever again, other than that one time? I don't know. I don't think he has. I'm betting on he probably hasn't. Either way, though, we got Nero now in 3,000 meters, just about to exit here. I'm in the same time zone as TGH, and I still don't watch him because he streams at crazy hours for living on the East Coast of America. I have work in the morning. I'm not staying up till 4 a.m. Thank you. Nara, meanwhile, at the end of flag number 13 right now, able to get onto 12. Yeah, TGH streams typically, at least from my time zone, I'd say from like midnight till like 4 in the morning. That's his stream time, and he lives in New York, and I'm a New Yorker as well. Like, we should be on the same cycle, and yet he's not. Like, he's on a completely different sleep cycle. Yeah, it's really bad. Either way, we were looking at Narrow at a... Yeah, this is looking to be another good time here, but it's just about the same time that he got last run, which is really surprising considering how good his early chapters were. He is getting a 28:36, actually a slightly slower time than what he got last run. And so that is a worst chapter 7 that we're looking at here. You know, getting, as we were saying, like about 15 seconds better of an exit on that reflection, and then resulting in this. So that's about, you know, 10 to 20 seconds slower than his summit last time. I don't know exactly, but yeah, his summit first run was so much better than this. I got kind of lost into talking about what it takes to get a sub 20 reflection, but it's just something that, you know, Narrow, he is due for a PB, but you got to be playing at a more consistent than that. Meanwhile, Scrublord's struggling right now at flag 17. Able to get through, and now is over to 13 at this point. The flags after 17 to 13 didn't really bug him too much. 13 can be a rather annoying flag to mess up on, so you don't want to do that. Able to get through there. And now on 12, getting a short death, but, you know, just a tiny death, really, all things considered. Scrublord looking right now to be trying to get somewhere in the 30-minute range. He wants to stay at 30xx right now, just to prove that he is playing very well. And it's certainly capable and possible right now in this run, as he is at 29.50 at flag number 6. Yep. Good flag number 3. Yep, and choosing to skip flag 2, he consistently does that, and it really annoys me sometimes, considering how easily you can die on flag 2, but able to get through, and is gonna be going up flag 1 right now, and getting a 30:37. So Just about a 2-minute difference there in finish times. And once again, Scrublord about doubling the death count that Nero had. And that was a very good run for Scrublord. Like, yet again, do not want to discredit how well Scrublord is playing currently. He actually improved significantly from that first race today that he just had. Only thing that really tripped him up was Bub's drop. He could have been looking at a sub 30 time right now if it wasn't for his 5B performance. And yeah, resting between races works pretty well for everyone, but there is a case of, you know, like, how long is too long? There has to be some point where you don't want to be resting for too long. You definitely want to be shaking out the muscles, getting the, you know, like, shaking off the adrenaline that you just had from finishing that last race. But you don't want to rest for too long where you start to get just relaxed and the blood is no longer warmed up in your fingers and you just aren't playing as well as you could be. So it is that question of how long is too long. And Scrublord, Nero right now, yeah, just practicing a section. Maybe he's taking what I said into heart, into consideration. Like, yeah, how long is too long? Maybe I need to get my practice back in. Maybe I need to practice a section for a second. And so he's decided to practice the Theo section of 5B right now. Which is a very good idea, actually, in some ways. It's a very difficult area. So, in the land of current time, as these streams that we're watching are a little bit behind given syncs that happened and other things that are going on, stream delay, whatnot. The countdown has actually happened in the Discord conversation at this point. The ready has been done. Meanwhile, while we're watching Nero practicing 5B. And yeah, we are seeing at this point Nero getting ready, typing in those characters that he needs to put in to make sure that it is a valid run. One that has been done today and is not a cheat. Not a run that he loaded up. And yeah, Nero has gotten the set at this point. But they name themselves that for cheat prevention. It's the quickest way I can explain that. No, it is a randomly generated. Yeah, randomly generated file name that they are just given at the start of the match, of the set, rather. It's okay if it's not a randomly generated one, rather. As long as the restreamer says it and the players don't know about it. I believe that there's one restreamer who typically goes with just saying hi. So yeah. Okay, it wasn't random, sure. But the players didn't know what it was going to be. So it's good enough. It's random in that case. Human randomness is still randomness in this eye. Meanwhile, Nero tripping up a little bit right now on these Chapter 1 movements. Not quite getting the task strats right now. He is going for a lot of task strats, though. Yeah, just watching him, it is really elegant watching him go through this. And this is going to be looking to be a 103, yeah. Scrublord getting a similar time. And not even going for task strats, though. Like, he pretty much just went through it normally. Or rather, just kind of went through it calmly and controlled. And not really going for a lot of task strats, but just going for stuff that he was confident in, resulting in him getting that 103. Which is actually a very consistent time from Scrublord as well. I think he got a 103 last race as well, I'm pretty sure. So, that is a consistent thing that Scrublord is able to put out. Thank you for that, Aaron, saying that they got a 0.1 second difference. That's great. And not gonna affect much. And Nero continuing going for the fastest strategy on every room right now, and just messing up a little bit, causing little bits of trips that actually... It's hard to say, but I think Scrublord is very close to, if not having the lead. He may have just lost it just on that screen right there with the coins, but he was very close. Yeah, like I said, he was in the lead until that key room. But Nero really does have superior awake movement, I gotta say. Like, watching him move through awake section right here, this is so smooth. It is butter. This is butter. Like, if this is margarine, I can't believe it. Oh, there he is. Getting the spring, actually, unfortunately. Proving me wrong that that was not that smooth of an awake section. .327 on the exit for old site there. Meanwhile, Nero, I think he got a 325 exit there. So yeah, not quite as crazy as the 319 exit that Nero had last race. But still looking at some very good times from these players. And I'm still in very good pace right now. Keeping that lead on Scrublord right now. It's I'm gonna go by when they talk to Ishiro, because that just seems like a good place to go for. That's about a 450 on the reappearance after the skip cutscene. And 456 on Scrublord's side. So yeah, we're looking at about a 6-second difference between the two players. And it has just increased as we did just get a death from Scrublord. Looking around 10 seconds now. Closer to 10 seconds, not quite up there. And ooh, Nero having a bit of a messy big mess area right there on the third part of that big mess. Yeah, the points are getting very important here, being at week number 7 out of 12. And Nero coming up to Demo Dash again. Is he gonna go for checkpointless this time? Not gonna be going for checkpointless. Gonna grab that checkpoint and then get it on the first try. Meanwhile, Scrublord now approaching the Demo Dash as well. He's been doing very well on it this time around. And continuing to make sure that he is getting there. And actually, I think that was a first try Demo Dash all 3 times from Scrublord this time around. That is going to be very good for his record. Nero once again getting a 429 at the exit of Chapter 3. Going to be looking at a 756, just under a 757 really, as a 756.9 on the chapter time, on the file. Meanwhile, Scrublord already getting an 805 on that file timer, so we are looking at a 10-second gap entering Chapter 4. Arrow getting that spike jump at around 845 that time. Meanwhile, Scrublord, yep, getting it around 855. That would, yep, still looking at about an 8 to 10 second difference right now. It's been maintained so far in Chapter 4 here. good recovery from Nero, able to catch his footing and keep himself on the side of that block. And Nero getting into cliff fates, pre-10 minutes, just barely. Cliff face mattering very much, so Scrublord getting some strategies he was not getting before, so good on Scrublord to be able to get these very fast movement right now and keep pace with Nero at this point. Nero getting out of there at 10:42. Yeah, this is a really clean ridge, and as I say that, not quite able to get the best strategy out of that screen, but still very well done here. And yeah, is looking to be getting 10:54 file timer there. So it has increased a little bit, but I have to really just give that up to potentially just superior movement going on from Nero. Who continues to get that early cycle on those shuriken things there, and he makes it look so easy, but it's not, because he gets into that screen already jumping into that bubble. So he just makes it look really simple when it's not simple at all to be getting that cycle. Nero not able to get yeet that time. And there's Scrublord's attempt, and he's actually able to get the yeet, so good job there. Scrublord getting something that Nero was not able to get. Nero exiting with a 117. That could have been earlier, but he just wasn't quite going to returning to map quick enough. And Scrublord here going to be getting a 116, so just a slightly faster 5A, thanks to quicker menu navigation. And Nero once again doing a little bit of a pause buffer there for that jump. I gotta look into that strategy. I need, if Nero is capable of telling me what he's doing there, that'd be very helpful for me, because I'm kind of curious about that pause buffer strategy, because it seems to work well for him. Meanwhile, Scrublord able to get Bub's drop on first try as well, and we are now in the series section of 5B. And, oh, Scrublord having some trouble on this screen right now, a bit before the mirror. And now starting the area that he was practicing just before starting this race. Let's see if it paid off for him at all. Ooh, Scrublord going for that strategy and not quite able to get it, showing how much mess up there really is to that strategy. And yeah, look at that. It's just so tight. I don't understand how you're supposed to be able to do something like that. And Nero looking to be about 10 seconds behind his last run right now. But that's not to say much. Like, he was on incredible pace last run, and just had a considerably worse summit than his first race. So, you know, he could still be getting a better time, even with the 10-second difference here. They're going through the hollows. Well, Scrublord is still yet to enter those hollows. Really just looking at about a 40-second difference here. Definitely under a minute at this point. Not quite a minute gap. It is definitely still within the 30. Yeah, somewhere within the 40 to 50-second range gap here. And now going to the battle line boost. This is a trick that I'm still trying to figure out. So I'd love some help on that one, because that is crazy. I want to get that speed. Scrublord having a bit of a slow top route that time, and missing the feather, having to retry. Yeah, I understand what I'm supposed to do. Short hypers are really annoying though. I can't do small hyper dashes. It's also why I have trouble with Yeet. It's just such an annoying prospect. It's like, what? Hyper dashes can have different height jumps? That's a weird prospect. That's a weird idea right there, Lewis. I don't know if I'll be able. I don't know if I'll do that at all. That doesn't sound like a good solution. I'll have to look into something else. I mean, my solution to Demo Dash was just to learn it. So, like, I don't even have a demo button like a lot of other people. I just kind of do it. You know, narrow. Looking at some good times here. This is looking to be, I'd say, like a 22x something. 20 minutes and 2x seconds is what I'm going for right now. As just judging by this end of chapter here with these last few screens. And that death at the end of the screen completely ruining my prediction. Or maybe it didn't, but I just had a really bad prediction. And nope, he got a 2030. God, you're so mean to me. Yeah, getting a 556 chapter 6, that is definitely not going to be something that he's very happy about. And getting a death there, he's been going for that strategy lately. And yeah, going to keep doing that, not getting that. Only using two springs on that screen. Two out of the four springs. Most people use about 3 springs on that screen. Skipping just the first one, but no, he skips the first and the third. Meanwhile, Scrublord exiting at a 21:29, just about a 1 minute difference now at the beginning of Summit. And they're not quite able to get that strategy there at the end of 500 meters. And not getting the Dream Hyper there, gonna be having to reset. He's able to save it. One of the few blocks that you're able to save your Dream Hyper. Save yourself from a failed Dream Hyper, so able to get it. Not getting a Dream Hyper there either, but is still going for them now. And this is very concerning right now as we are getting Dream Hyper. Yeah, it's looking iffy as to what this finish time is going to be. I'm not going to make any calls as of yet. Scrublord, keep in mind, also playing very well. Could be on PB pace. At least if we go by what is currently on the leaderboards. If we go by what I said of him having a 29:37, he's not quite on PB pace, but he's very close to it. Yes, Nero has a 28.08. He got 28. He got 28.35 and a 28.36 just in these two races that he's had today. So he consistently is getting 28. It's okay. Not everyone has a bunch of knowledge on Celeste. So it's completely fine if you don't know everything there is to know about Celeste for aces and people. And oh, Nara messing up here on the 2,000 meter at the ending of 2,000 meters, not quite getting optimal movement right now, and is just retrying again and again with that screen. But gonna be exiting out of 2,000 meter now. Well, Scrublord is at about towards the is at the end of 1,500 meters. I forgot exactly what screen that was and like what it led into next, but yeah, realized, of course, after he entered the final room of 1,500 meters that was very close to the end. And Nero getting a death there in 2,500 meters. Nero validating his run right now, getting the door skip, able to get on that first try, getting those demo dashes in as well. Not sure about if the first one was a demo dash, but the second one certainly was, given the heights that he just went through. And, oh, tried to recover that, as he recognized that he did not have enough momentum, but was not able to save himself. And now struggling on this final screen of 2,500 meters. And will be entering 3,000 meters very late, compared to his other runs that he's had today. Oh, meanwhile, Scrublord struggling a little bit here on the middle of 2,500 meters. And yeah, Nero, as we were saying, yeah, he gets 28s on lock. Meanwhile, this is looking to be somewhere in the 29 range right now. Yeah, you guys calling me the jinx. Meanwhile, the chat is the real jinx right now. As, yeah, we are certainly looking at 29 pace, as he is at 28.08, touching flag number 13. Meanwhile, Scrublord going through. Yeah, you didn't curse it, you jinxed it. Different. Scrub, we're going to be getting to flag number 19 at about 2022. Yeah, it's always the caster's fault. Look, I guess I gotta be the scapegoat for you guys. You know, you gotta find someone to blame, and you guys blame the casters for these runs that happen. But whose fault is it really? Let's let the conspiracy theories fly. Either way, sorry, we're getting a 29:33 for Nero, finishing that out. Just about a minute worse than any of his runs that the other two runs that he had today. But still, certainly a GG. Scrublord at flag number 7 right now at 29:20. Gonna be hitting flag number 6 at 29:20. And now entering those 5 final flags. Scrublord going to be finishing it out, getting a very good time here for himself. Actually going to be getting a 30:12. That is very good for Scrublord. And you can see here, Nero starting up the next game. He's so excited for Donkey Kong. Sorry, no. Is it Diddy Kong Racing F? No, it's Mario Kart Double Dash and then Diddy Kong Racing. I'm getting ahead of myself. Nero, I know what you did. Don't need to explain yourself in chat. I'm just gonna say that you're excited for the Mario Kart Double Dash that is happening. Yeah, I'm seeing Diddy Kong over there, so I got confused. I was like, oh, it has to be Diddy Kong Racing. But no, it is going to be Mario Kart Double Dash coming up next. So thank you for joining us. It is going to be 3-0 for Nero. And next, coming up very shortly, just after a quick break, is going to be Lothjohn versus Phoenix spelled correctly on Mario Kart Double Dash, commentated by Goomba. So I'm going to send it over to Goomba after this break.